How to give feedback to your colleagues in Jira through the UpRaise apps. Navigate to the UpRaise app from the apps navigation at the top. Then click on the continuous feedback menu from the left navigation, and you will land up on this feedback screen. From here, click on this give feedback pop-up, and you will see a pop-up which includes a number of fields for you to fill in. Firstly, let us understand that this pop-up can be triggered from multiple places, meaning you can give feedback to your colleagues from multiple places. We'll talk about those multiple places towards the end of the video. However, keep in mind that the pop-up, the content of the pop-up that you are going to see is going to remain exactly the same from wherever you are triggering the give feedback action. First and foremost, you have to handpick one user or one of your colleagues for whom you are creating this feedback, right? Let's say this is about one specific user. The system is going to show you a list of 10 users. You can pick one of them, or if you want, you can type in their name and the system will suggest relevant colleagues for you to give feedback to, right? Then you can link this feedback to a Jira issue, to an objective, or a key result, or you can keep it independent of any of those things. If you switch to, let's say, Jira issue, an additional text box or search box would appear wherein you are able to handpick the Jira ticket, the Jira issue. However, for this discussion, let us keep it limited to independent work. Obviously, if you choose any of these other three options, the feedback will also appear within the Jira issue detail page, within the objective detail page, and the key result detail page. But we'll have that discussion in a separate video. For now, let us switch this to independent work. Then you have to pick a tag. The tags are, of course, by default available. However, almost every option that you see on this give feedback pop-up is fully customizable. We'll create separate videos to explain all of these configurations and how you can customize them to meet your cultural needs. But for now, let us pick one of these tags. Labels, you'll notice, are not mandatory. There is no red asterisk over here. However, I would want to associate my feedback with enthusiasm and learning, right? So in a way, you're associating your feedback with a specific skill set or competency or team value or a company value, whatever makes sense for you to associate that feedback with. That is labels for you. Next, you've got formats. Again, formats are also optional, and this format dropdown would only appear if your UpRaise administrator has already configured a few formats. Formats will help you start from something rather than starting from scratch. Depending on what kind of template your UpRaise administrators have put in place, you can choose the format and the corresponding template text appears here, which you can then expand onto. For part of this discussion, let's not use any format and let's just provide the feedback that we have already created. So here we are providing feedback. We have added the feedback message. However, the important part still remains, which is shared with. Right now, it is set to all users. That means everyone who has access to UpRaise within your Jira instance will be able to see the feedback. I can switch this to say selected teams or users, in which case I can again pick the users with whom this feedback should be available. You can even choose the teams that are there. Or I can save it as a private note by setting the sharing with none. The idea behind having a private note is the feedback that you're creating is not visible to anyone apart from you. You can either share this at a later stage with someone else, or you can use that as a reference, maybe for a face-to-face discussion during performance appraisals and so on. Right? To reiterate, the feedback visibility is going to be dependent on not only this shared with configuration, but also permissions related to continuous feedback. We'll talk about continuous feedback permissions in a separate video, but it's important to understand how the feedback visibility works. For example, if I were to select this second option, and if I removed this user, what that will mean is I'm going to be sharing a feedback about this user, this colleague of mine, but without making that feedback visible to them. So let's say the use case here is if you want to give feedback about one individual without sharing it with them, but sharing that feedback directly with their manager. That's just one of the probable use cases. For this one, I'll switch to all users. To spruce up the feedback, what I'll do is I'll probably include some kind of an emoji. I can do that easily here. And now my feedback is ready to be given. I'll click on save, and then that means the feedback is delivered to my colleague. Now that we have seen how to give feedback, let us identify different places from where you can trigger this give feedback pop-up. First one, obviously, as I demonstrated, you can trigger that from the continuous feedback screen where this give feedback button is always available. You can also trigger it through the suggestions section that is available from the summary tab. Here, based on your latest interactions, based on your latest feedback exchanges with different colleagues of yours, system will come up with suggestions. You can click on give feedback, and the user about whom you are creating this feedback is pre-populated based on the suggestion. That is the second place. Third place is you can use this quick create action from the left navigation of the app. Click on this quick create and you'll notice the give feedback button. Click on give feedback and you'll see the exact same pop-up. Moving on, you will also be able to trigger the same thing from the user's UpRaise profile. So what I did was I clicked on the link to my colleague's profile. I landed on the feedback page, or rather on the feedback tab of their profile. Herein, I can click on give feedback and they should be able to see or rather I should be able to provide the feedback in the same steps. Not only this, you will also be able to give feedback from Jira issues as well. So let me do one thing. Let me open up one of the bugs that is logged in our projects. Here on the right-hand navigation, you'll notice there is an area for appraise, open appraise. When I click on it, I'll be brought to the objectives and key results tab. I can navigate to continuous feedback and then click on give feedback. So you should be able to trigger this give feedback pop-up right from within your issue detail page as well. You can do exactly the same through the objective details and the key result details pages as well. So this is how you trigger the continuous feedback. You trigger, or you rather give feedback to your colleagues through UpRaise apps in Jira. This feature is available in the UpRaise for Employee Success and UpRaise People app. Thank you.